Welcome to Thinking Green. Before we get into tonight's show, I just want to remind everyone, if you're in New London, you will not have forgotten that this weekend is the annual hygienic extravaganza starting on Friday night, the 29th, with the Hootenanny and I think the screening room, and a week or two of activities following that. So hopefully we will all see each other downtown over the next week. So also staying downtown, our topic tonight is Fiddleheads, which is soon to celebrate its 8th birthday. So I'm joined right now by Amelia Lord, and welcome, Amelia.
Thank you.
And I think Wynston Estes will be joining us sort of mid-show.
We hope so, yeah.
So welcome, Amelia.
Thank you.
I guess we can kind of start out. You've been involved with Fiddleheads for a long time.
Yeah, it's been about 4 years now.
So maybe talk a little bit about how you came to get involved and what your role has been during over the years.
So I think the first time I came into the co-op, it had really just opened, and our co-op has grown very organically, which is appropriate, and started extremely small. So I think when I first walked in, there was one row of borrowed refrigerators along a wall, the kinds of things that are battered and found in various people's garages, refrigerators and freezers, and I think a row of extremely dusty shelving. And I wasn't quite prepared for that.
I don't even know if there were shopping carts or anything.
I'm not sure. I don't remember. It was my son had just been born, so there was only so much that I could manage at the time. And I thought, okay, I think I'm going to have to come back here in a little while when maybe something else is going on. And thank goodness there were far more dedicated people than I at the time, because having regular customers and owners come in the store is how the co-op managed to grow to where it is now. So, they weren't all as fickle as I was, which is good. But,
well, I think they had a plan, because when they first moved into the building with the first Winter Farmers Market, the building really couldn't be used for anything. I don't even think it was heated.
Yeah, and it was a huge space too for that, for what they were doing at the time, and it has gone through so many changes. I mean, every one of them has been kind of dramatic in its own right. Like a few years ago, I think it was 3 years ago, we closed the store for a week and emptied the entire thing out so we could redo the floor, because it really needed to be done. And just seeing it grow in these incremental steps has been really exciting. When I finally did come back around, there was certainly more. There were maybe 3 more rows of shelves, and a little more freezer in the freezer department, but
and not quite so dusty.
And not quite so dusty, but still kind of dusty. And it just had this wonderful feel about it, and I don't know how else to describe it, but our co-op is a real community, and it had all the kinds of food that I was looking for also. So I got started, I live just very, very close by, and I got started going in pretty much every day for a bottle of kombucha and some rice cakes. And pretty soon afterwards, I started working in the produce department, and I was working there for a couple of years before I moved into the outreach department where I am now. But it's been great, and it has grown so much in that period of time.
Hi, welcome, Wynston.
Sorry about that.
Well, you can mic up, and then we can ask you how you became involved with the co-op.
Yeah, I think.
You have time to breathe. I think it's your point up.
Okay. I'm not exactly a professional at this piece here.
Yeah, well, this is live and it's public access, so really, we're good.
Yeah, I learned about the co-op looking for a general manager in late August, and I work in Madison, Wisconsin, but we were having a slowdown period there at my co-op, and so it was an opportunity to come out here and help your co-op. I'd done a small stint of doing turnaround work in interim general managing with a small store in Stoughton, Wisconsin, which is about 50 miles away from where I live there. And so this seemed like a good opportunity to help another co-op.
So how do you like New London?
It's, well, Madison's about 300,000 people, and
Yeah, so we're a tenth the size.
but you've got so many beautiful places around here, and the whole whaling history, and the beautiful historic buildings, and just a very vibrant and very interesting culture.
Yeah, it's not really a boring place in spite of being kind of small in numbers.
And very interesting people. You make up for it
Yeah.
in quality.
So we have a little video about this store. If people who are watching this have been there very recently, this will look familiar to you. But if you haven't been to Fiddleheads in the last 6 months or year, it doesn't, as Amelia said, it's evolved so much since it's open, but it's actually evolved a lot just in the last 6 months. So we're going to show a video tour, and then we'll talk about the different departments.
Oh, lovely. So should we...
And I'm James. I'm the front end manager here. So we're going to take you around the store for a tour, starting in our produce section.
Beautiful produce. Over here we have our, look at these little tiny mini blood oranges. They're the cutest. Oh yeah.
Also, some great local Asian pears, perfect for a small little fruity snack. Right now we have a special on Tommy Atkins mangoes, 2 for $3.
Wow. We have both leafy greens. We have unripe avocados and ripe ones too. So if you want your guac now, you can have your guac now. Fruit. Amazing new selection of grapefruits. I really like the Rio Star. It's delicious and very sweet. And then over here we have our breakfast. We like to start off our day, start off our store, just as you start off your mornings. We have a wide selection of juices, cereals, granolas. And then over here we go into our baking and milk alternatives.
Over here we have our wellness section. Everything from supplements, herbal tinctures, protein powders, locally made soap. You're going to find that and much more all right over here in the wellness department.
Then we have our Live and Well cooler, packed full of our favorite booches, our favorite kombuchas and probiotics, as well as our dairy alternative cooler too. Loads of delicious nut cheeses. Try the tree line cheese, it's my favorite. And then we have all the meat you could handle.
Salmon from Seawell Seafood, wonderful and delicious. We also recently lowered our pricing in our meat department. Come down here, you get a pack of chicken thighs for less than $3, quite a steal.
Speaking of lowering our prices, cheapest milk in the area, and still delicious and best quality, Farmer's Town. And down here, we've now condensed our bulk offerings into one straight aisle. So if you go down here, we have our teas and spices. Keep on going down, we have all of your favorite bulk offerings.
On to the center store where we have some grocery products for everyone's pantry.
Soups and crackers, entrees,
International sauces and prepared meals, rice, tomato sauce,
some salsa, some pickles and tuna, all that you could want.
extra virgin olive oil sardines, one of my favorite things in the store.
Little video. Yeah. And then over here, we have our newly reset freezers design as well. So in our freezers, we start off just like your day with breakfast and work all the way down to dessert. Down here, we have our snack aisle. Everything from chips to soda and raw foods as well. And of course, all the seaweed you could ask for. Not to mention all of the gluten-free and delicious food-sensitive offerings that we share in the store as well.
And lots of chocolate.
All
plenty
the
of
chocolate,
selection
yeah,
for you.
yeah.
And then down here, speaking of all the selection, we have all the gifts you could want. And once you're done wrapping those gifts, you can clean it up with all of our paper goods down here, along with our cat foods. Keep them entertained so they don't get in the way of you wrapping things.
Yeah.
And then, of course, my favorite section of the beer. Most of the beer buyers have been focusing on bringing in lots and lots of local beers at a wide array of different prices too. So be sure to check those out also.
We also do have a cafe here at Fiddleheads Food Co-op. We serve coffee, tea, and hot soup all day. We have a microwave and a toaster for any of your frozen meals or bagels. Feel free to come have lunch with us.
Speaking of bagels, here they are. Bagels and all of our baked goods. And that's about the gist of it. Come on in and see us, and while you're here, grab a sandwich from our lovely grab and go section. Bye now, see you soon.
Well, okay. Well, thank you to Katie and James
Yes.
for being very good sports
Very good
about
sports.
that. So I think people might have gotten a good idea about what the store looks like inside, but I think it might be a good idea to spend a little bit of time and give folks the idea of what they can find in each department, because really, Fiddleheads from the outside looks kind of big, but not big like, the big chain supermarkets. But in terms of inventory of like food you can eat, it really, I think, has a better selection than a lot of the stores that look bigger. So we can go in the same order as your video and maybe start, you walk in the door, there are shopping carts and produce and breakfast stuff. So maybe produce, because we're talking a little bit about local farmers, is a good place to start. What kind of things can people find? What's local, what isn't local, what's organic, what isn't organic?
Most of the selection in the produce aisle is organic. I'd say with the exception of maybe like 5% of what's in that aisle. And you can tell where it's local because we label our products that, they come from, Wakeford, Rhode Island, is that right?
Yeah.
Or you can see on the label where
Lebanon, Connecticut, or
Yeah.
Quaker Hill. And actually, this is sort of a big issue because at the federal level, aren't we starting to hear that, the origin of foods, people are going to not necessarily know when they go into stores?
Yes, the government's been repealing some of those regulations, and I've just read the other day, and I passed it on to Amelia, that they're also not going to be recognizing grass-fed as a standard of production for beef. And so, yes, I think that the co-op and co-ops in general, whichever one you're at, and we do make a greater effort to get information into the customer's hands, because that's one of the tenets of a co-op is you educate your community, you educate yourself, and you do that with your food, with your products, with your services, with how to run your business, how to be involved in your community. So it's a very big splay of information sharing, and I don't find you get that at the big box stores. They're good at other things. They can offer a wider variety of products, but I think in our model, we've pre-selected. We've done a lot of the shopping for you. We're giving you options, but we're trying to focus on all the top quality options that we can fit, that we think they're going to sell in good condition, that are going to sell rapidly enough to be in farm fresh condition, and that we know from our owners that the owners want, because we're on the aisle, we're with the product, and we're with the shopping public. So when people ask us for things, we are, I think, far and away more responsive than your average grocery service.
Yeah, I think that's true. And at least in the produce department right now, even though it's January, it's pretty amazing how much local produce we offer. We have I think 3 different kinds of radishes, which
Yeah.
I think that's super exciting because
And really, and the watermelon radishes
I know,
are fantastic.
I know, and these beautiful purple daikons, and I think lots of people who have maybe never been to the co-op before might have no idea what to do with them. It's kind of surprising, but that's also a nice thing. I think that our staff is really well informed and well educated. So if you see something that you don't recognize and you want to know more about it, you can ask pretty much anyone, and they'll have some information or be willing to cut it open so you can take a look.
And a taste.
Yeah.
And a taste, yeah.
And from the point of view of the farmers, I think more of them are putting hoop houses in their operations. So things like winter greens or things like carrots and radishes,
Spinach.
you can get locally pretty much year round.
Yeah, yeah, spinach and kohlrabi and sprouts we have all year round, and those are a nice thing to be able to eat something alive and growing in the middle of winter.
And just right down the road,
And
the fuel cost is lower, the kindness to the earth is better.
Yeah,
So the environmental impact is far and away more mild than. But we do also offer a wide array of just the foods that you need, and so we do have some products that are coming from, I would say, probably Mexico and
We have
Florida
bananas.
and
Yeah,
bananas.
they don't grow close
you
by.
can't get those locally.
Right. There
So-
are some exotic things too. I think you can get like the Thai coconuts, for example,
Yep.
and that is something that doesn't grow here.
No.
Right.
Will never grow
No.
here.
Right. And we try to work with fair traded produce when that's the case. The grower standard of pay, the grower standard of a healthy work environment is protected and guaranteed on those types of products. And they can be more expensive, but they are also, the money's going to the farmer. It's not going to some conglomerate that will remain nameless. But I think that co-ops do sometimes suffer from the idea that we're too specialized, that we're not going to sell the staples, and we of course sell the staples. We're foodies, but we're good eaters too. You should see us at the lunch table. We're real good eaters.
That's true.
And Fiddleheads, if you look at the inventory, seems less elitist than some co-ops. I think early on there was a discussion about whether it would carry meat, because there are co-ops that don't. And from a very early stage, there was meat available, even if it was sold through the co-op and not exactly by the co-op. Farmers market providers could provide local meat.
Yep.
And that was sort of a decision that was made from the start, that it was going to be a community grocery store and not just for food fanatics.
Right, and the meat selection has been getting better, more diverse, and I think service to that section for small grocers has gotten a lot better. I mean, I've been working in natural foods for 20 some odd years, and it used to not exist. You couldn't buy fresh meat. You could only get it frozen if you didn't have a certain volume of sales. And now we're able to, our distributors are doing a better job of working with small grocers, and so we're getting very good quality fresh meat and fresh poultry that you can buy. You don't have to plan ahead. You don't have to defrost anything or go through the whole thawing program of like, it's going to sit in my refrigerator for 3 days before I can use it. So we have fresh meat. As it's growing so fast that sometimes we have a little bit. We're still catching up to ourselves, but we are consistently offering it.
Yeah, that's been a really nice change and a significant one in the last few months. I think that's something that people look for in a grocery store. So
It is. And I think also, there seems to be more meat production in Connecticut. And, Connecticut, it's really great for us in a way that the terrain of Connecticut doesn't lend itself to the huge factory farms. So we do have a lot of small farmers, and there are quite a few who raise chicken and pork and lamb.
It's just that it's not processed in the state because of a statewide limitation. But yes, we do pursue those suppliers, and as our market grows, we're able to add more and more to the category. But you know, coming back to some of the specialty goods, I think that with the specialty goods, like with kombucha, get a whole cooler of kombucha. I mean, I worked in a very large store with multiple sites, and we didn't have as much kombucha as Fiddleheads. It's a very
Well,
good
not to
selection
mention
of
you can get it on
kombucha.
tap.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
we
if
like
you're
our
into
kombucha.
kombucha, you're going to be very well taken care of at
Yeah,
Fiddleheads.
so there are definitely these regional preferences. Now, when you were talking about some of the produce, you mentioned sprouts, and we do have some sprout samples here that it is a way to get fresh vegetables in winter.
It's one of
Yeah,
the superfoods.
So what kind of sprout, everyone knows about alfalfa sprouts, I guess, and mung sprouts, but what else is out there?
Well, we have a couple of these. These are local, the ones from Ike Farm. These are pea shoots and wheat berries.
Wait, what, do you wanna, can I open it so we
Sure.
can? Like, well, maybe I can't open it without
That's all
unsealing
right.
it though.
Let's do that. There we go.
I know
Okay.
kids that just love these as snacks, and moms and dads really
Yeah,
prefer that be the after-school snack rather than, you know, pizza or whatever else.
You don't say.
Yeah.
I know, yes.
I really love pea shoots. So some of the sprouts, like broccoli sprouts, are great and they have a lot of flavor. They're really delicate, and so if you're going to put them in a salad, they kind of sop up the dressing a lot, and I don't always love that. So my recommendation is if you're going to put them in a salad, dress the salad first and then put the sprouts on afterwards. But pea sprouts, you can cook them, but I think they're better fresh, and they hold up to a dressing a bit better than the thinner ones. And they're just really fresh and bright, and it's nice to, like, they're green, and
Yes.
it's nice.
And it's
to-
winter.
It's green.
It's so nice to see green.
Wheat berries are, maybe you wouldn't expect it, but they're actually very sweet. So you just, the wheat berries are soaked and then given a few days to sprout, and the sprout, it just, they have a lot of natural sugar in them that
They have
gets
a
produced.
malty taste at all? Because that's how,
Would you like to try them, Ron?
I guess I could.
Why not?
Well, I'm thinking, isn't malt made by sprouting and then heating,
exactly.
right?
Yep.
So the sugars are, so here I am on TV.
Yes, I'm
eating.
sorry. You have to do it.
They're really good.
Yeah. They're a little sweet. They taste a little
They
sweet.
are, yeah.
Yeah.
And they taste, I mean, they don't look at all green, but they kind of have a green,
Yeah.
like vegetable taste,
Yeah.
not just a grainy taste.
Yeah. They're nice and substantial too at the same time. So
I use the pea shoots and sunflower sprouts too on like burritos as the green instead of just chopping up lettuce. So you use it, you know, just as a garnish, and it's pretty darn good.
yeah, sunflower sprouts are one of my favorites. They're really, they have a really great texture. They're really kind of hearty.
And you have some blends also, I see.
Yeah, we have these. This is called our yoga salad mix, and it has just loads of stuff in there: lentils and pea shoots and broccoli sprouts, and this is like, I don't know, the gift that keeps on giving, because it's packed in so densely that you open it up and take something out, and it doesn't seem possible that it all fit in there in the first place, because it just keeps, exploding. So that's kind of fun too. And then we have this blend from Ike, which is mung beans and chickpeas and wheat berries, and really good stuff.
I think I recently had those fried up in a little potato hash for breakfast. It was really good. Well, fried is good, though.
Yeah, makes everything taste good.
It's pretty darn good.
And potatoes,
Now, as part of the reset, the breakfast food, the point was made during the video that, you start your day with the breakfast food, you walk into Fiddleheads and you see the breakfast food. So what kind of stuff do people, is available for breakfast food?
Well, I believe we start out with the juices, and we've got some of the super juices, just the pomegranate. There's a kale juice that's pretty intense. And then we have really fun juice, like just tomato juice for maybe your Bloody Mary on Super Bowl Sunday maybe, or and then juices go right into your flake cereals, and your puffins are going to be one of the items that we focus on in February, and it's just a delicious little cereal. It's not, I wouldn't say necessarily super healthy, but it's tasty.
There's still plenty of fun things that are in the mix. Yeah.
And then the hot cereals, farina, cream of wheat, cream of buckwheat, and all kinds of granola. Oh my heavens. Fiddleheads people really enjoy granola.
Granola and kombucha.
Yes.
And so the selection is probably much better than you'd get at a conventional store. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, like I said, we pre-select those items that we think are the best, either for your nutrition value or for your natural value or for just the value of it. We try to have a range of accessibilities and pricing and economic diversity as far as that goes.
Yeah. And one of the things that I really appreciate about co-ops, and whenever I'm traveling anywhere, I try to visit the local co-op because they really grow from the place where they begin, and they reflect that community. So a lot of what we carry is there because people have asked for it, and so we reflect pretty well what our area is interested in and what they like.
Right.
And it is kind of fun to visit other co-ops. About a month ago, we spent a few days in Portland, Maine, and visited their co-op, and the one big takeaway thing that we bought was this bucket that grows mushrooms.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's neat.
And so now we have, they're only this big, of some kind of mushrooms growing out of a white bucket in our kitchen, which I imagine will be very large in just a few days.
Yep.
It's, so I don't know, I'll let you know if they're good. Maybe Fiddleheads.
Maybe we can figure out where they're coming from, yeah.
Yeah, I was at City Market in Burlington, Vermont yesterday morning and bought a growler of maple syrup because Vermont. So
It is Vermont, yeah.
Yeah, I had to do it.
So there are a lot of bulk foods at Fiddleheads, but maple syrup is not one of them.
Not yet.
Wow.
Maybe one day.
But
Yeah.
Maybe one day.
I would have thought we would have had that one, but okay.
Yeah, and that's been a really nice change as well, the bulk aisle, because it used
Right.
to extend across three rows,
Right.
and we still have all the same products, but it's just in one long aisle, and it makes it a lot easier to shop. And
Yes. You found it.
yeah,
Yeah.
you don't have to hop around looking for something. You just,
Now, the bulk items are something that co-ops have really always done better than the more conventional stores. So there's a whole range of types of bulk items. Maybe you want to talk about what there is.
I think we have at least 5 different kinds of sugar. There's brown sugar, sucanut, dried cane, demerara, and then coconut sugar,
Right.
and then just plain old white sugar.
And I
That's pretty
did
amazing.
note, though, last time I shopped, that the organic sugar costs less than the plain white sugar.
See that?
So,
That's a
and
kind of
it's tastier too.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing with co-ops is our buying power is really on the natural brands. That's where the concentration of our sales are coming from. That's where this concentration of our purchases are coming from. So when we try to offer, just a conventional type of product because it's recognizable or it should be
Right.
cheaper, we don't have the heft
Right.
with our supplier for those lines of goods that we do with our natural goods. So we end up paying just as much for it
Yeah.
on our wholesale cost as most people can get it at the conventional grocery store. So we don't usually win on that end of things, but I think you have to offer people an option. And if
Sure.
you are used to working with plain white sugar and you're about to make a cake and the cake's important because it's so and so's birthday, we want to give you that option.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's kind of an opportunity too to kind of nudge people to try something new.
Certainly.
If it's, the organic sugar doesn't look that much different from the plain white sugar. It's a little more beige.
Yeah.
But it's like the same fineness. And so, save a nickel a pound and get the really
Good
better
stuff.
stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And it tastes just fine. I'm a big coffee person, and I won't try a coconut sugar or stevia or agave. in my coffee because it's too important. You know, I got to get that coffee right. And so with natural sugar, it doesn't change the flavor of your coffee. It's tastes just like sugar because it's just sugar
It's
without some of the processing that makes it white.
And I mean, I've always really appreciated the bulk department because, I mean, we carry all kinds of packaged products, and we should. And it's nice that we have the bulk as well because, you know, I think, I forget the number, something like $1 million, what is it? It's more than a day, is put into food marketing towards children alone. And that's extraordinary. And so that, you know, every package that has a design on it or a cartoon character, tons of money has been put into that. And the bulk department, I'm only paying for the thing that I see in the lucite or whatever container. And all you see is, you know, where it's from and what's in it and the PLU number and the price. And I love that. And sure, I have loads of boxes as well. Buy tons of things that are already
But
made.
it is a good, and there are some concerns about, you know, all this packaging. And I think about spices in particular, which are great at Fiddleheads. If a person wants to buy 1 nutmeg, you can buy 1 nutmeg.
You can.
And that's the thing with spices, you know you're going to go through them. You're going to go through them in a good amount, and then you're just tossing all of those little bottles and all those plastic caps, and you're paying for it too. It's a part of your cost when you grab that, you know, item from the conventional grocery store. And if you don't need to, if you buy the container once, you've got a label on it that tells you that's basil and not parsley, then you should be able to just refill from there. So you had mentioned, you know, what all do we sell in bulk? We have a pretty phenomenal candy department.
We do.
But you know, some products don't do well without packaging. You know, if they have fats in them or things like that, they need the packaging to stay fresh. But without the packaging, we've got grains, flours, beans, dinner mixes, soup mixes. The candy, of course, nuts. Oh my gosh, are we nuts for nuts?
Fruit.
We've got definitely 4 or 5 types of cashews, whole raw cashew, raw cashews bits that are just less expensive because you don't need to be, you know, making them real pretty. And then, you know,
cashews.
roasted, unsalted, salted, curried.
I was gonna mention
And that's just the cashews. We haven't even gone in on everything else.
Probably a similar kind
Array,
of thing, and you have the choice between dark and milk chocolate coated as well.
We do.
And the nut butters, you know, we've got 2 nut butter grinders, so if you bring your kid or your grandson in, they can make their own peanut butter, which, you know, it's novel, but it's also so fresh. It's something that you don't
really
get
good.
out of a jar.
Yeah.
I mean, we do carry jarred nut butters and tahinis and so forth, but you know.
And it's fun to see the hopper, you know, the peanuts go down and peanut butter comes out. Look at that.
And that's really getting to interact with your food, you know, and that's part of that whole thing is transparency of what are you buying.
And you know, if the peanuts went in, that's all that's going to come out.
Exactly.
Yes, there's no salt and oil and whatnot added into the mixture.
Whatever you want to put in there after when you get home is fine,
Sure.
but it's just peanut butter.
Now, thinking about the fact that people can pretty much buy whatever you want to cook for dinner, what kind of, I know that the dairy and cheese and tofu and all of that stuff seems to always be expanding.
The dairy case is doing, we've gained a whole new door because we had been using a door as just sort of a convenience area for owners to grab pre-orders or to do things that are unique services that not everybody's using. But now we've filled that door with product, which allowed us to expand the milk doors. And is it Baldwin Brook? I don't know if I'm supposed to name brands, but you know, we've got a good selection of raw milk, and if you've never had that, that's pretty interesting, and people just are pretty excited about it.
Yeah, it's always been a really big deal at the co-op. And we're fortunate to live in a state where you can buy raw milk and it's fine, and people do.
Yeah, in Wisconsin, it's only directly from the farmer to the purchaser, so you cannot sell it in a retail environment.
Well, we're really glad that you can sell it. When we first moved to Connecticut, we did buy it directly from a farmer in East Lyme who had 4 cows, and you brought your own bottle. But it was state inspected, and it was fantastic. And then when we moved to, when they retired and went, I don't know, down to Florida or somewhere, when we had to start buying supermarket milk, it really wasn't as good, and it wasn't as digestible. It wasn't just that it didn't taste as good.
Yeah.
So,
and we do carry the regular supermarket milk, of course,
Yeah.
but we support, I think it's 5 different local dairies. Some of them are raw and some of them are pasteurized, but I think that's pretty extraordinary. And we have relationships with those people, like the raw milk people. I've been to their farm and I've seen the cows, and I think that's an advantage of a co-op, certainly. And a smaller community-owned grocery store it's a community, and there's a relationship and there's a give and take. Like we saw a cameo of Teresa Schacht from Huntsbrook Farm. She's one of our farmers, and she shops at the co-op, and I think that's really cool. And I think that's something that our customers really appreciate, is there's a direct relationship between our agriculture and our food and our community. It's pretty neat.
and it manifests itself later too, because come spring, I mean, you can go up to their farm and buy plants or buy pizza, or
Right.
so. Yeah, it is a very community building part of the co-op. Let's see, I'm trying to work my way around the store.
Yeah, don't forget the snacks, because we got good snacks.
Okay, hey, we'll go to snacks, and I know we also have to go to beer.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Super Bowl Sunday is coming up, and as the week before Thanksgiving was a very big shopping period at Fiddleheads, I'm thinking before Super Bowl Sunday should also be a big shopping day.
Yeah, it's gotten to be such a holiday and such an event that people will not watch the Super Bowl. They'll just have the food that goes with the Super Bowl, and that's a lot of fun. So yes, we're planning on having. I heard we were getting wings, and I hope to heavens we do, because now I'm saying it.
Gotta have them.
That's a little pressure.
That's right.
Right. But I watch football. I'm not shy about it. I'm a Green Bay Packer backer, and I'm going to be watching the Super Bowl, and I'm going to be having
Well, that is a community
guacamole
team,
and
unlike many, unlike most.
so yes, the guacamole will be flowing,
Yes, we're gonna have a lot of avocados.
and we've got a great deal on tortilla chips and salsa, of course, and it's a salsa right down the road in Rhode Island. Where is that? I don't know if I'm supposed to name brands, but can I? I don't know.
In passing, we can't really hype.
No,
Yeah.
but so it's a local salsa or a regional salsa, but the beer, we're featuring regional and local microbrews, and I wish Katie were here to describe them, because I only know the one that I like.
Yeah.
But there really is a range.
There is
Yes,
there
there's-
is a range, and it feels like we get something new in every week, or more often than every week.
Yeah, I mean, beer's really dynamic, and it's a lot of product development that's been going on, and lots of different trends going on in beer. And so I think our buyer tries to keep it interesting without necessarily just changing everything all the time. Like, we've got our staples, but we also aren't afraid to roll the dice and see if there's some interest in some new things.
And we'll be having beer samples by some of those local breweries for our birthday party next weekend.
Yes,
Yes, next
5th,
weekend.
6th, and 7th, we're going to be
Okay,
celebrating.
so that's really the same weekend as Super Bowl weekend.
Yes,
Is-
yes.
Okay, talk about the birthday party.
Well, it's
Yeah.
going to be a 3-day long event. So it starts on Friday night, Friday, February 5th. From 5 to 7 will be an owner reception. There will be music by Danny Spur and his cohorts. It'll be great. So Appalachian
String music.
And they're terrific, so that's always really fun.
Sure.
And Revival Brewing from Providence will be there doing a beer tasting.
Yeah.
There will be lots of yummy snacks to eat.
Yeah, I think an array of like meats, cheeses, crudité. We're going to have the Abraham's hummus, and yeah, it's just a smattering of things for folks to just come in and celebrate.
This is for anyone can come,
yes,
owner or not, right?
yes,
Yeah. But it's, yes.
Well, we
And then Saturday will be sampling all day long from 10 to 6. We're open from 8 to 8, but samples for sure from 10 to 6. And there will be, gosh, all kinds of things.
Well, yeah, I think we're up to about 5 different sample stations. We'll have a sampling table in produce, sampling in wellness, sampling in the rear towards the refrigerated grocery area, sampling in the cheese case, sampling in the beverage aisle. There's going to be ice cream, I hear, from a farmer's cow or something like that. Yes, ice cream cones for several hours that day. So
that's very exciting. And we'll have birthday cake.
And we're going to have birthday cake a couple of times that day.
10 and 2.
And there are probably several, if I remember from past years, a few different choices. So there's always like a gluten-free.
Well, there will be. I think there will be something that can probably accommodate
pretty much anyone.
any diet, but for sure, it'll be good. And yeah.
The one goodie that we have that's owners only is gift bags. They're about $100 of groceries in one bag, and we'll have about 4 of those plus a wellness bag. And you just enter to win, and we'll do a drawing on Monday once the whole festivities is concluded, and then we'll let people know. But I did I worked on the selection with the promotions team, and there's some really good stuff in it. The olive oil that we've been running a promotion on this past month, and oh gosh, 2 different local cheeses, some fruit from our produce aisle. Just a little something from each department to make, to just appreciate our ownership, because it's been a couple of rough years, but we're, stable now and really finding our feet.
Yeah.
And we appreciate the people just sticking with the co-op and continue to use your co-op.
Yeah.
Well, so you mentioned ownership. How does a person become an owner, and what does that mean?
Well, it'll be very easy to become an owner at the birthday weekend if people wanted to come in and do it then. But it's really easy any day. You just come in, and at the register, there's a flyer, fill that out. It takes about 2 minutes probably.
I think we ask for like 3 pieces of information. Who are you? What's your email?
Yeah.
And that's what's your address? And you are an owner once you place equity in the co-op, and the equity structure is $175, but we break that into several payments if you'd like for $25 plus a $5 processing fee. Equity is interesting because when you place equity in your co-op, that's fully refundable to you. That's your investment, and in exchange for that investment, the co-op provides you the service of having a local community-owned grocery store. And so oftentimes people are like, well, what do I get if I become a member? And it's like, well, you get a co-op. It's really cool. And you do have local control over your co-op.
Yeah.
And that's really important. And people are like, what do you mean local control? Well, a corporate store will look at their sales per square foot, and they might not see that they're performing the way they want to perform, and they might not stay in that community. We know about food deserts across the country, and that's oftentimes because no conventional grocer wants to go in because the numbers don't work for them. And of course the co-op has to stay in business too, because we're a business. But you're a community-owned business. You can support your business, really give it, weigh in on those big decisions. But we do build in some perks for ownership for sure. And we just built a couple of new programs for owners only. Owner Exchange is a owner program that's across the store for owners only. And the discounts 20% off or more. We have a program called The Big Deal that focuses on staple goods, although it's going to be pizza in February. And it just looks for 30 off or more, like a really intense discount. But it's different than what we had been doing, which was just a universal discount, which is we're partnering with manufacturers and suppliers to produce those savings for the owner versus just taking the profit off the top of the co-op's operations. And so and then the quarterly coupon, I'll save that one for you because that's a really good one.
The quarterly coupon is a 10% off a single shopping trip at once a quarter during the year. So it's one coupon per ownership. And if people are strategic about it, it's a great way to sort of stock up and make that big trip we hope you're in much more often than that. If you come in every day, every week, that's ideal. But and once every couple of months to kind of get the pantry back full. That's a really good way to do it.
And certainly when the seasons change, we all want to focus on different types of products. And in the fall, it's a great time to focus on your bulk goods because making more stews, making more soups, and all of that.
Okay, we are down to 2 minutes.
Okay.
So I wanted to mention to people that you can order online now too. So if you go to the website, and I don't think we have it printed, fiddleheadsfood.coop, there is a link to online ordering. And then tell people where the store is.
Okay, yeah, that's important.
Yes, it is.
It's on the corner of Broad Street and
Huntington.
I always get them said mixed up. Yes, Broad Street and Huntington. I've been there loads of times. I know where it is.
And you used to live 2 blocks away.
And I do still live 2 blocks away. So it's right above Tony D's. Many people are familiar with where that is, sort of diagonally across from the Guard, if that helps.
We are open Monday through Sunday, so 7 days a week, 8 until 8. So just every day, same hours. You don't need to remember a thing, just 8 until 8.
Yep.
And as we learned recently, in snowy weather as well.
Yes.
Well, we did have to close a little early on the Saturday, but we stayed open until 5:30. So we really made every effort to be accessible to the community for as long as it was safe for the staff to get home. And yes, so we did miss an hour and a half or 2, but we did our best to be available. And I think staff did really well.
Well, thank you, Wynston. Thank you, Amelia.
Thanks,
it went
Rhonda.
really fast.
It did.
And everyone, we can see you this this weekend is Hygienic Weekend. The weekend after that is
The birthday party.
Is Fiddlehead's birthday party.
And Super Bowl.
And
Super Bowl.
They're a good mix.
Yes. We should try to coordinate that every year.
Next week, Jason Morris will be our guest. He'll be talking about education issues, especially standardized testing. So we'll see you then, and we'll see you at Fiddleheads.
Thanks, Rhonda.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All set?
Oh yeah, I like this. I was raised down at Fort Trumbull, warm friends and family around me. What's now a blighted neighborhood, overlooking a river to the sea. Soon all that'll be left of it will be nothing but them good old memories and parking lots. Having an decent Christmas, settle me at your house, not mine. Having an decent Christmas, where I be come Christmas time. I smell lemon eviction coming round to London this Christmas time. It don't smell so good down by that sewer plant. like that, Kenny. I want to tear my chimney down before Santa comes to town. They want to build themselves a hotel. Would you think they'll spread that wealth around? Now think again. Jody Rell can't even stop them when they come to town.